Hey, what is up, guys? I'm going to give you some brief thoughts on the new patch and also be announcing a temporary coaching hiatus for anybody who got coaching from me. But I'm going to be pausing that for a while while we figure out what's good, what's not. I don't think I can coach anybody on what they should do right now. So, more to come on that later. But for now, I won't be coaching at all. Any replay analysis or live or whatever. Just going to be figuring out myself for a bit. Hopefully it's only a couple weeks. And, I'll give you some brief impressions I had of the patch. The map feels really big. I played 3 games last night. Did not do so hot in any of them. The same thing one we should not have won. So I really should have lost all 3. And for me, like when they put in the previous like really big patches, like I haven't really taken any major Dota breaks since it came out. Maybe like a couple months, but I never left for like a year, 2 years. So I've gone through all the big patches, and whenever these new big patches come out with a lot of changes, like the shrines or like all the talents and whatever, I suffer a lot. I am so used to the way it plays before, and I think I'm like a very intuitive player in that like I don't always like consciously think about what I'm doing, but I can still perform well because it's just like ingrained. I like lose it all with big changes like this. So I'm not expecting to do super well. I think I'm going to take. Last time I didn't do this 2 years ago or whatever. I'm going to take a break from ranked, and I think last time I lost like a lot of MMR just because I was trying to figure stuff out. And I know when I go in and I play on this new map and trying to figure things out, I just play way worse. And I think everybody plays a little worse, but I think I play like a lot worse. So I'm going to take a bit of a break from ranked. I do like the new ranked system, like the Glicko. I really think that's going to work well. I dig the whole showing the rank confidence because that's really how it should work anyways. I have no idea what my re-ranked MMR will be. Not really. I mean, this is day 2. It came out yesterday, so I'm not really that interested in putting it to the test right away. I think the drafting for immortal should be pretty interesting. And then just to speak a bit on the changes, I haven't read all the hero changes yet. I watched BSJ go over everything else. I think I watched that, but I watched his stream as he went over everything until he got to the hero changes, and I wanted to kind of jump in a little bit. But the map is huge. The Roshan thing is huge. There's 2, and then the Twin Gates is huge. I really don't understand how it's gonna work. I mean, they're positioned such that like you kind of have to walk out of the lane to like get to them. So any gank that you try to do to the other lane, and then when you like, so if you're dire, right, and then you have to like walk out of vision and you're out of the lane for a while, and then you have to go through the gate, and then you're like behind the radiant one. So like in theory you could wrap around this way depending on where they are. But I don't know. It's not quite as easy to just go gank a lane as maybe it would seem. Although I did do that once yesterday in my Night Stalker game. It's just going to change things so much. So my biggest reflection, I think, is just like the way old Dota worked in terms of like order of objectives and overall game plan for every game. That was not based on nothing. It was based on where the Roshan was and how the map played out and where the best areas to farm were for carries and like what made sense to take and like how certain areas when you took those towers become safer for like your carry to farm or whatever. So like all that's going to be different because you can take the tower here, but then there's still the twin gates, so it's not necessarily safe. The Roshan like changes where it is, so like the tier 1 towers near the Roshan pits are going to be more important now. And like there's not any super important objectives around mid anymore. And because the map is so big, when you're like in the mid lane or near the river, like you feel so far away from everything. It's crazy. Like the whole order of objectives and what makes sense to take first could totally change. That could change like where it's best to put your carry hero that you want to get all the farm. Like maybe it's best to put that hero in the mid lane. Like who freaking knows? That's what I mean. Like the game could massively change in terms of how we thought about playing the previous game, and it's going to take a couple weeks at minimum, I think, to really figure out what's new. And of course, you could just play Dota in the meantime. You can queue up a game and pick a hero and fight and shit. But in the long run, we'll have to see how these changes actually affect things like that. That's what I'm most interested in is like, where is this new meta gonna land? What's actually gonna be the best? So I have to keep an eye on the pros to like learn that. And otherwise, the map just feels really big. I mean, and it's interesting because they said they nerfed lane creeps in terms of money, but then there's so many more jungle camps. Like there's so many jungle camps because these bottom areas that are totally new, these each have like 5 jungle camps in them or something. It's crazy. And then over here, there's like the extra ancient camp. So this is like an ancient area. So there's like a lot more neutral creep farm on the map. And it's so big and there's so many camps that you can like basically never run out of camps in a minute. So I really don't know. It'll be really interesting to see how this like continues to develop. The map feels like kind of too big right now. I wonder, I mean, heroes are faster at night. I can't say I really noticed that while playing. Like, I didn't feel like, oh, it's night, I'm faster now. So we'll really have to see how that changes things. Or if maybe they give every hero, like, instead of... And they might revert some of these decisions or, like, alter them. So, like, instead of people running faster at night, they might, like, take that out and just give every hero an extra 20 base movement speed or something. Or something else. I don't know. But it just feels really big right now. Kind of hard to get around. And, yeah, I mean, high ground in the side lanes is going to be a lot harder because of these defenders gates. And you can, like, easily flank the enemy. I mean, obviously they could sit right here and be ready for it with a ward or something. I really don't know what to think about these watchers. They haven't seemed that useful, but maybe people just don't know how to play around those yet. You could change, like, team fighting. The outposts are weird because you can capture the middle outposts, but then I don't think you can capture these outer outposts. I don't know if it's like supposed to be that way, but like as Radiant, if you're winning, you can take this outpost after you like take a tier 2, but you still can't go take this one. So like the Dire will always have a way to like TP out onto the map, to the top side at least. The Radiant will always have a way to TP out to the bottom side, which also affects the Roshan. Like, if the Dire's winning, and normally you'd be able to keep the Radiant locked in their base and take the Roshan, well, I mean, obviously, TPing the outpost could be a little predictable if you have vision, but I don't know. There's just, like, ways to counteract this stuff now. And then the gates, I mean, you know, just do some, like, AFK farming pattern, like, down here, and then gate to the other side, and then be up here, and then, like, you never see those people, because, like, do you put wards down in this area now? I mean, obviously you want to because of the Roshan, but like, are wards that more commonly covered like the river in the mid, like not as good anymore? Is that area of the map just less important? I don't know. These are the kind of thoughts I'm having. I don't want to ramble too long. It feels a lot like right now, but I think it felt that way earlier, and yet, you know, playing Dota 2 days ago felt like the most natural thing ever. So it's something that if you're like a little worried, like, oh, this feels so different. I mean, you just got to play games and get used to it. And it's going to feel really weird. And if you're like me, you might queue up one of your favorite heroes and you still might feel like you have no idea what you're doing. You know, even though you've got hundreds of games on the hero, you might be just like, what is going on? And that's okay. Just kind of embrace that feeling. Play unranked if you're like me and you don't want to like just tank MMR for no reason if you need to figure it out. And I hope you guys have fun. I'm planning on having some fun messing around with this new patch. Just wanted to add a couple more notes that I didn't think about, but now I'm just going back through the patch notes that I would touch on real quick. I think the new hero attribute type is interesting. I don't really know what to make of that yet, though. I think that'll be like revealed as to whether it's like matters at all or like doesn't matter. Maybe it won't matter, even though it like seems big. I think that the BKB rework plus like all the stuns being nerfed in the game is interesting. Not really sure how that will play out. It seems like heroes, like, it seems like you can get really tanky against magic damage now. Like, heroes like Necro, I've seen be strong, where you just take no magic damage. So, I don't know if that's going to end up working out, because, like, I think physical damage is going to be very important. Like, you need to have a way to kill people that's physical. Otherwise, you just can't kill people. And then the neutral item rework I think was really cool. I think that makes a lot of sense. You can have two of the same neutral item on the same team, which I think is like kind of interesting. And I think it's really interesting they nerfed all the stun times. I really don't know what that's gonna mean, other than it seems like it's really hard to chain stun people right now, and I guess people just have to relearn the timings, but like all stuns are lower. So is this like longer drawn out fights are just gonna happen because it's impossible to like chain stun people? It's gonna be harder to burst people too, at least with magic, because people are gonna be tankier, I think. Well, that's my very brief impression based on a couple games. It seems easier to tank up versus magic damage, and they have less time to burst you in stun durations. So it's easier to like not get bursted, regardless of like whether you're actually tanky or whether you're just like not stunned for as long, so then you can like walk it off, whereas before you would have died or something. So I mean, all of this combined with the new map, I mean, I don't know. This is just it's a whole different game now. Everything's different, and just don't make any assumptions. Don't think, oh, that must not be good, because it could be. And don't convince yourself an idea is good. It could not be, even though it works once or twice, right? So just be ready to learn, guys. And yeah, like I said, coaching hiatus. I'll let you guys know when I come back. And good luck out there.